welcome back to my channel. So it is Q&A time because I'm rocking my Nickelodeon shirt and I have some wannabe really good coffee. You know, there are not a lot of Dunkin' Donuts in North Carolina, and being from New Jersey, that is very difficult. But also being on Weight Watchers, it's kind of a blessing. So to make it feel like I'm drinking something special, I just go there and I get for $1.80 unsweetened iced tea with a lot of lemon. And that's 0 points and it makes me happy. You guys have been pouring in your questions for me. I have them in all random places, so hopefully I get to all of them. If I don't, maybe I'll make a part 2 one day. Depends how this goes, we will see. But I'm going to just jump right into it. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna take the time to say who these are from or post a little cute little thing right here. We're just gonna make this simple and I'm gonna answer these the best way I can. Did you have the opportunity to student teach? Well, of course. I don't know if it's possible for you to be a teacher without student teaching, and I highly don't recommend never student teaching. When you go to college to become a teacher, it's part of the program. One of your classes is completely dedicated to student teaching, and if you're lucky and your school has a really great education program, then they will also have you doing different internships throughout the school's your whole college career. So yes, I student taught in 3rd grade at the school that I currently teach at, so very exciting. When did you know for sure you wanted to be a teacher? Oh my gosh. Psh. As soon as I could walk, as soon as I could talk, as soon as I could breathe. I don't remember when I didn't want to be a teacher. There were times in my life when I thought about doing other things. Like, I'm definitely into interior design, even though I'm not good at it at all. I'm not very artsy in that sense, but my dad was an architect, so got that from him, and I love just HGTV and all that, but definitely not my thing. There was also a time I wanted to be a pediatrician, but I can't do shots, so that wouldn't work. And I also think about being a real estate agent, kind of along the lines of the whole loving homes thing, but I've always wanted to be a teacher. I've always played school growing up. I went through my yearbooks and picked the kids that were in my classes. I taught to fake children. It's actually how I studied when I was growing up, especially I want to say in middle school. I had this whole little whiteboard on the wall and desk set up in my basement, and I would stand there and teach the topic, and it would really help me study. So would you ever consider leaving elementary? I don't think so. I actually never thought I would go lower, like closer to the primary grades. When I found out I was student teaching in 3rd, I was scared to death. And now I'm going to be actually teaching my own class in 3rd grade. I feel like as the kids get older, you can have more regular conversations with them. And I think now some people would think that's great, but I think that would lead me too much to be too much of their friend instead of their teacher. So I think I'm gonna stick with elementary for now. Why did you decide to start your YouTube channel? This is an interesting one because I actually started YouTube in 2009, I want to say. I was like a freshman in high school when YouTube was like just starting out. Michelle Phan was like a thing. I had really bad acne growing up, so I think what I was doing was like looking up remedies and different things to help me, and I came across Michelle Phan. So then I came across this beauty community that was not big at all back then, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And it's actually funny because I used to, when I would like take showers and stuff, I would read the back of the shampoo bottle as if I were like telling someone about it. So like, I feel like this was meant for me. But in high school, I did like the beauty, fashion aspect of things. I did that through college too. My channel actually kicked off. I only had like 2,000 subscribers on that one, but I was obsessed with makeup, obsessed with fashion. I did that thing, but obviously that's such a crowded category on YouTube. It's hard to become noticed and get out there. Whereas when I started on the teacher community, it was still very new. So I feel like that has helped my channel grow a lot. I started, I guess, because I thought it was cool. And I stopped my senior year of college because I didn't want, like, I didn't filter myself a lot back then. So I just wanted all those videos off. I was afraid that I wouldn't get a job, or people would think it was weird if I put myself out there. Now I don't really care. Honestly, like, I love sharing my ideas, and being a teacher, that's like one of the main things you do, and collaborating and everything. And YouTube is honestly just a great place to do that. And if YouTube wasn't a thing, I would probably try to be a blogger, but I just don't like to sit there and type things out. I'd rather talk about it. That's why I really like YouTube. So I could just sit here and talk to you guys, and we can share ideas, and it's just really exciting. How much money have you spent on your classroom? Oh goodness, probably way too much. Definitely over $1,000, I would say. Maybe up to 1,000. I don't really like to keep track of that. And I also get a little bit of money from my PTO, refund my own expenses. So let's say under 1,000, but I have put a lot of my own money into my classroom just because it's basically my second home. Like, I'm there every single day. I want it to be a place I enjoy. I'm really like passionate about teaching, so I want it to be the best it can be. And I know there's so many ways around it. Like, I've done so many Donors Choose projects. My PTO has purchased a lot for my classroom, and parents have donated a lot. So I think I'm like pretty good as to where I won't be spending like too much more in the future. But like, when you start out, you need to spend some kind of money, whether it's on books or book bins. Like, yeah, you can start out and get the ones that the teachers don't want anymore, but I don't know. I just like my classroom to be a welcoming place, and getting nice new bins was exciting for me, and getting the chance to actually do that myself was exciting. So, I mean, I've probably spent my most money on bins. I don't really buy like school supplies. I think I got caught up in that in my first year of teaching, but I really don't need to do that because my school provides everything, and parents provide everything in that aspect. So it's mostly just like storage things that aren't necessary, but they make my heart happy. And then another question, how much money do you usually spend to get your classroom set up? Well, for the past 2 years, I kept the same classroom theme, which was circus. And I talk about themes, and people freak out a little bit because they think it's like spending all this money. Well, for me, themes, I buy bulletin board border, and I buy like a few clip art pieces from Teachers Pay Teachers. Like, it's nothing extravagant, like I'm gonna buy a Lego Ferris wheel to put in my classroom, and I don't even know, like some people really go all out with their themes, and they need like everything to match, and the labels and all that stuff. I keep that stuff standard so I could use that from year to year. The things that I actually spend money on for themes is like bulletin board borders and letters and things like that. This summer, I've been trying to keep it as low as possible. I have been really excited with this new theme and this new classroom, so I mean, I'll always spend more than I need to, but I would say around like $200 to get like new bins. Not all new bins, but I'm bringing in new colors to my classroom, and I just want to, you know, spice it up a little bit. What are you most looking forward to learning this school year? Ooh, I'm honestly like, I want to learn what it's like to have the same class all day. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to, being a true teacher. Like, not that I wasn't a true teacher before, but I switched classes. I didn't have the same class all day. I taught like basically one subject, and to me that's just not fully what I wanted to do. And I've said this many times before. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what it's truly like to have all of these kids be just my responsibility, not share them with anyone else, and to watch them grow and just to learn how it all works. This question is very interesting, and I actually don't have too much to say about this, but it says, I'm a special education teacher in Missouri. Tell me what the process for qualifying a student for SPED looks like in your school or state. Okay, so in my school, we have tiered interventions. You have your tier 1, which is basically all your kids, and the kids who don't get something right away, you pull them for a small group and help them. Tier 2 is kids who you've... Thank you. Tier 2 is kids who you've been pulling for small groups but still aren't progressing. So you still pull them with your tier 3 groups, but then you also have to pull them for separate tier 2 groups. And that is where you set like really strict goals, measurable SMART goals. These are the kids you talk about at like our PLC meetings, and our guidance counselors and our EC teachers help us out with this. They give us strategies to work on with these kids, and we try to help them grow that way. And then if they're still not growing in tier 2, then they move to tier 3. So they still get tier 2 interventions. And this, by the way, is all done by the classroom teacher. Don't know when we have time for this. It worked when we were on teams because like my first year, I just taught science and social studies. So during our intervention time, I did all of the tier 2 interventions so that the other teachers could focus on their tier 1 interventions. If they're not growing in tier 2, they move to tier 3. You do one-on-one with them on top of their tier 2 with the group, and their targeted goals are even more significant, and they have to not show growth for a certain amount of time. I think it's like 9 weeks at that point. So it's like 9 weeks on tier 2, 9 weeks on tier 3, and then we start the whole meeting process with the EC teachers and the parents, and getting the okay to test the kids. And then they go through all the testing process, which I don't really follow because that's all the EC teacher and the speech teacher. And then after that, we have to have another meeting with the parents, say this is what we found, this is what we suggest, yada yada yada. It's a process. Some people really don't like it because they feel like it's such a hassle to get kids tested, but I feel like it's going to help because so many kids were tested in the past that the EC teachers were so bombarded. Now it's, with all the data we have to collect, it's really helpful to find if there actually is some type of learning disability along the way. I think the process is much better now because now we're not sending kids to get tested that really just don't need to be tested. And then she says, what are some things you do to accommodate your students with special needs? That one is hard because I was a math teacher last year, so I wasn't reading. And during our intervention time is when the kids would leave to go to their EC teacher. So I didn't have them in small groups, but when I did pull them in small groups during class, like they were some of the kids I pulled every single day to give them that extra support and to really guide them. We do a lot of read aloud. I don't know how I feel about it. I have a lot of 4th graders who cannot read. That's very confusing to me coming from New Jersey, and I just don't understand all like special ed kind of things. Like I didn't realize there was so much, and I just have a lot of kids who can't read, and I feel like a lot of the times that's why teachers have tried to qualify kids in the past, because they can't read. And by 4th grade, if they can't read, I mean, clearly there's something wrong, but I don't know, it's interesting. So I've read aloud like every single math test to my EC kids because that was part of their accommodations. They also get like separate settings, so they sit at a back table if they don't have read aloud. Oh, I had one student or two students who had modified assignments, so they wouldn't have to take the entire test, they would just have to take half of it. And how do you differentiate your instruction to meet their needs? Well, one thing I did last year, which I really enjoyed, is I used Google Classroom. And since I was a math teacher, we used IXL as our online program. So I made a document for each kid on Google Classroom, and I would go in there and write the IXL skills that I wanted them to practice. So before they got on the program, because it wasn't it's not like Front Row or Ribbit or whatever it's called now, Froggy. I don't even know, it's not called that. Freckle, that's what it's called. It's not like that where it's like individualized to them and it creates a whole program for them. IXL just has all the skills and the kids choose which ones they work on. So I would go through and tell them which ones they needed to work on. So we did math morning work every week, which was a spiraling. So whatever I saw them struggling with, those are the skills. When I graded their morning work, those are the skills I would go put on the Google Classroom for each student specifically to work on. And then again, all the accommodations with read aloud and having them work with like a partner who could guide them a little bit, but I didn't want to be the one who was giving them all the information all the time. I thought it was better if they worked with their peers sometimes too. Have you thought of relocating back to New Jersey since it's one of the better paying states? So, for those of you that don't know, I am originally from New Jersey and I came to North Carolina for college. I went to High Point University and I stayed here. And I made my whole video on surviving on a North Carolina teacher's salary. I'll link it down below. Am I going to go back to New Jersey? I don't think so. I love New Jersey. It's my home. It's where I grew up. But ever since I moved to North Carolina, I've been here for almost 7 years now. Oh my gosh. New Jersey is very crowded and there are just people everywhere all the time and it's just so crowded and I don't like that. Also, there's a lot of people who are very rude, and coming from New Jersey, I feel like I could say that because I know when I go back there, I get that like personality. When I came back here, oh man, I was like cussing and just doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. There's just like this Jersey vibe, I don't know, which is fine. And when you're there, you're like used to it and you like participate in it and everybody's the same, so it doesn't bother you when you live there your whole life. But when you visit and it just happens, especially when you like come to the South and everybody's just so overly nice, it's just such a different atmosphere. And even though teachers do make a lot more in New Jersey, the cost of living is also insane compared to North Carolina. I just really like North Carolina. I'm really happy here and I don't see myself going back to New Jersey. Someone asked me if I'm still doing Weight Watchers and if I have any tips. Yes, I'm still doing Weight Watchers. I love Weight Watchers because I've struggled with my weight like my whole life, even though when I was in high school and I thought I was overweight, I wasn't at all and it was not good. But you really need to track everything. I've fallen out of the habit. I'm not gonna lie, I've been the same weight since April and that kills me. It kills me. I mean, traveling in the summer has been so hard because those weeks when I went back to New Jersey, I didn't track my points because I was just going with the flow and it was just way too difficult and there were foods I wanted to eat there that I don't have here, and so it's been hard. But even though I haven't seen a difference in the scale, I've definitely seen a huge difference in my appearance. So I know that the scale doesn't always matter, but I do have goals. So yeah, my tips are basically to track everything. Don't eat a snack and be like, oh, I don't have to track that. No, you should, because when I started, I was such a stickler about tracking everything, and that's when it was really working. So tracking, I mean, I like to eat 0-point foods, as many as I can, like throughout the day. That way I can save all my points for dinner, so I have something to look forward to. Edamame, Brussels sprouts, find something that's 0 points that you love and that you can use as like your midnight snack. Drink lots of water. Don't expect yourself to go to the gym every day. In the beginning, I was so lenient on myself going to the gym because I dreaded it so much. At my old apartment, I didn't like my gym at all. And I don't want to pay for a gym membership because I have an apartment at my, I have a gym at my apartment, so it's just free. So in the beginning, I think I went like 3 times a week and I only did the elliptical for 25 minutes and that's all I did, and I lost weight and it was great. Now, especially while I'm home in the summer, I'm trying to go to the gym a lot more. I'm trying to add little bits of things here and there, but I'm just like not forcing myself and not pushing myself, and if I don't feel like going to the gym, I don't. Your weight loss is mostly going to be your diet anyway, so definitely drink a lot of water. If you can cut out like juice and milk and coffee sweeteners and all that stuff and just stick to water, because drinks have points in them too. So like if you want like even like green tea, 5 points. The, what is it, Arizona green tea, 5 points. And you get like 25 in a day. So that's a huge waste. Don't drink your points, eat them. But I love it. I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. Like so many of you have been so kind to me, especially on my Instagram. Like, guys, this is the craziest thing I've ever done, is lost this much weight. I think I've lost 38 pounds. I still have a lot to go, but I never thought I would be at this point. So Weight Watchers has helped a lot. And I think I've been paying $20 a month. So I think that has like pushed me, because I don't like paying for things that I don't use. Oh, another question I get so much, but this is like mostly on my older videos. What are blurt beans? Guys, if you ever see something in my video that doesn't make sense to you, just like look it up. Because blurt beans are just a classroom management strategy, and people normally use it when they have their kids sit on the carpet. The kids get beans. If they call out, they have to give a bean. Whatever beans they're left with go in a jar. Once the jar fills up, they get a class reward. That's blurt beans. Nothing spectacular. It's all over Pinterest. So yeah. Someone asked, are you teaching just math or math and reading? I am teaching everything this year in 3rd grade. We don't switch classes. We don't departmentalize in 3rd grade at my school. It starts in 4th grade. So I'm really, really excited because I will have my kids all day, except for enrichment. But they are mine. Someone said, name 5 things you wish you knew before teaching. Okay, so 1, all kids are not like you. I think as teachers, we grow up as kids who follow directions. And as kids, I think we're also oblivious to the disruptive problem children. Or I just had great teachers that handled them really well. But kids are not going to be just like you were at school. Like, I was so afraid of getting in trouble. I was so afraid of being sent in the hallway. I was so afraid of getting a call home. These kids do not. I mean, the good ones probably do, but there's a lot that does nothing to them. So I wish I knew that, because I expected, I knew it was gonna be challenging, but I thought there were gonna be like a few kids. I didn't think it was gonna be a lot of kids. Now, I may have had rough classes the past 2 years. They were very different, very rough in different ways. But yeah, kids are not like the child you were, especially if you want to be a teacher. You were probably the kid who followed directions. I guess like you're going to be thrown into situations that you never thought were going to be a thing, but you just kind of have to like roll with the flow, go with the flow, and like you figure things out as you go. You're not going to have the answers to everything. You're going to be a mother, a nurse, a principal, a disciplinary system, a friend, a guidance counselor. Like, you are going to be everything for these kids, and it's a lot. But I love it because it's different every day. Another thing I would say maybe is don't let parents scare you. I feel like I'm still getting over this kind of, but I've said this in the past, you are the professional as a teacher. You went to school to do this. You know what is best for these kids. So if you're calling a parent or talking to a parent because their kid did something or they're struggling, like, that's your job to tell them, and you know how to solve those problems, or you can figure out solutions to those problems. You can work with the parent to figure out solutions to those problems. So don't be afraid of parents, I guess. I grew up in the generation where we didn't really talk on the phone. Like, texting came out so soon after I got my phone that I was like a texting world. So talking on the phone is so uncomfortable to me. I'd rather talk to people in person, but also I'd rather have email so I can sit there and think about what I'm going to say and take time to respond. So I'm going to leave it at that. And my biggest advice for someone going into education are those things, probably those things I didn't know. Just also, I think I would say, as you are in college, the lessons you're creating, like, do something you'd actually do in the classroom. That way you can use it later on, and keep everything you do, and start a Google Drive with all your classmates to share your good ideas, and get into the classroom as much as possible. Oh, another question I've been getting a lot. Am I going to change my channel name? No, I'm not going to change my channel name. I started in 4th grade, so I will always be putting forth effort. I am going to change my intro though, so that is coming. Do you have any tips for themes or anything? I mean, if nothing jumps out at you, I wouldn't like stress over a theme. The only reason that I've done themes for the past 3 years is because stuff has like stood out to me and I'm like, yes, that's what I'm going to do. Or like, if you see something on Pinterest that you really like, then like start searching things that go along with that. I would say pick something that jumps out to you the most, because that's what I've done in the past, and then I just search on Pinterest and collect ideas. And we are going to stop there. I believe that is all my questions for now. I really appreciate all of you guys and all of the feedback you always give me on everything. You guys are so kind, and just, I love this teacher YouTube thing. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was interesting. I have a travel vlog coming up, I think. I started editing it when I went to New Jersey. I filmed. I don't know if I'm gonna put it up. I might put it up for a little bit, just so you can get a taste into my personal life. And then I have a weekly vlog, regular things I've been doing to prepare. So I'm gonna go. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.